Hi there, this is Steveo Cubed. We're just here to explore part 2 of a 2-part series on whether or not you can call yourself a fan of a superhero if you haven't seen or read the original source material, in this case being the comic. Today we'll actually be interviewing some students, some teens, to get their perspective on this matter. In part 1 we covered more of the adult perspective, so let's hear what they have to say. Okay, so the question again is, can you be a fan of a superhero, or call yourself a fan of a superhero, if you haven't read any of his or her comics?
Do we go around?
No, you guys can it can be like free-for-all. Who wants to go first?
So, I think that you could be a fan of a superhero without reading the comic, but it's not really a fan. It's a casual fan, you know? Because that would be like comparing, someone who's listened to an artist, maybe 2 songs, maybe 3 songs, then to somebody who listens to every song of that artist, right? It would be all like, somebody you listen to on the weekend or somebody you listen to every day. That's the difference between casual fans and then hardcore fans, Like, if you're a casual fan, you'll probably, you might not pick up a comic, actually. You might just watch the movies because you've seen maybe the characters or, you just seen the characters and you like them.
At the end of the day, you're still a fan if you're a casual fan. Just because you don't just because you don't read the comic books doesn't mean you don't appreciate the characters and the story. And some people just don't have time to read the comics, or they just don't want to invest in the comics. Because there's already like...
But how can you call yourself a fan if you're not willing to invest something in a character or something?
Why would I be a fan if they don't appreciate my money? Like, I have a budget. They need to understand.
But you buy tickets to the movie.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, what's the difference?
Yeah, but the movies has like 3 comic books. Shut up. The movie has like 3 comic book stories, sometimes more, in one movie. Whereas a comic book, you're gonna need to buy like several copies just to finish an entire saga or something. And then it's hard to keep up with it because there's more than one universe. I think that's a flaw, but not much of a flaw. But
actually, I've heard a lot of people say that they have trouble getting into it because
you don't know which one is canon.
Like, which version is this? Like, what's going on? Like, I have to figure out all this before I can just read one comic book.
Yeah, it's like the Amazing Spider-Man and just regular Spider-Man.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
So, I think it's like a new generation of showcasing, like a superhero. So, you have comic books and then you have movies. But, our new generation is mostly on TV and stuff, and we hate reading. So, who the wants to read?
So you think comic books are old school?
Yeah, they're old school. It's like listening to old school rap versus new rap, and then you have new rap, and you want to listen to the new rap because there's more you can connect more to it.
To be honest, new rap is trash.
Let's skip the mic.
Yeah, or let's not change the subject because that's a whole nother thing.
Israel, what do you think? What do you think?
I think love Sosa.
I think you can't.
I have a point. No, not a point. Do you guys think I'm a big fan of Batman?
I guess.
I mean, if you invest actual money, then yeah, you're a big fan.
You know, in my apartment, I don't know if you guys saw, but I have an actual Batarang. I have posters with Batman stuff.
I saw the poster of Batman that
You have a Batarang?
Yeah.
Can you please bring that?
It's actually made out of metal. It was beat the crap.
Yeah, please bring that. I wanted to see that.
But would you guys consider me a fan?
Yes.
Okay. I only read cover to cover only one Batman comic book, and I'm reading one right now.
Yeah, memorabilia.
Yeah.
But you read
comics.
You read graphic novels?
I just started recently. I haven't finished one yet. I've only read one issue cover to cover, and then I'm reading another one right now.
Have you seen all the movies?
I've seen all the
played the games?
TV shows. I played all the games, but I haven't read the comic stuff.
So you're a fan of different media?
You're a fan in your own. Everyone is a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still feel like that's kind of
casual.
Yeah.
Reading comics is
I feel like,
for
because like,
people who sit on the train for hours and have nothing.
I feel like some hardcore fans would say you can't be a real fan of something unless you see it in the original or in the original medium.
Just hipsters.
A regular person who knows about superheroes would be like,
We're fans to watch the
You know what?
Yeah.
they're fans who have all that shit.
Okay. Let me give you a different analogy. Okay. Let's say someone watched the Romeo and Juliet, that movie with Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio. You guys remember that movie? They're like, yo, I love Shakespeare, man. Just because they saw that movie, I'm a huge fan of Shakespeare. But they've never seen any of Shakespeare's plays straight up, and never read any of his the actual playbooks, right? Would you call them? Would you say they're full of it, or would you say they have a valid
because all
point?
Shakespeare, the movies that they remake is straight out of the script.
So you're saying that person can still call themselves a fan of Shakespeare?
Yeah, because if you enjoy something because you watch it, it's still made by Shakespeare.
Well, they're a fan of that one
All the
thing.
same thing, it's just modern.
Yeah. Like when the Heat won the championship, everyone was a Heat fan. Everyone.
Well, that's different.
Well, I guess mostly everyone. Because they won like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say, what happens if they're just a fan of like one incarnation
Like, can you give us an
of a certain
example?
thing? Like some people only like the Nolan Batman. Like when it comes to movies, I only like
Yeah, I've
Nolan.
heard that a lot too. Like, a lot of people who call themselves fans, not to sound sexist, but especially girls, they're like, oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Batman and all the movies, and they're only talking about those three.
But they're the fan of the director.
Nah, that reminds me. Yo, pass that up real quick.
All right, let me make a quick point. That reminds me, what you just said reminds me of something I saw recently. It was a meme about some girl who she was pretending to be a fan, right? She's like, oh my God, yo, that hipster girl should take off that Star Wars shirt. I bet you she's never even seen the movies, right? It was a picture of Natalie Portman in a Star Wars shirt. And I'm like, are you stupid? She was in the movie.
That's different. She worked in it.
Wait, so how does that relate to what the comic?
No, that relates to it because like some people like to pretend that they're fans, but they're not really.
I'm a fan of Star Wars. You can call me a nerd. I've seen every single movie.
All right, you see, he's seen every single movie.
Why would Star Wars Clone Wars?
I do feel like there are people.
Are there comics for Star Wars?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So then I'm a good
Are there
fan.
comics with Star Wars?
Yeah.
there are.
Oh, so I'm
But they're not the original source. Like even like hardcore Star Wars people, you know, like if you haven't read the comics, they're like whatever. You know, even if you haven't read the comics, it's like whatever because that's not the original source, so people don't have beef with that. But the movies, yeah.
So I'm a fan of Star Wars.
But let's say like you called yourself a fan of Star Wars and the comic books were the original, right? There would be a lot of people that would be saying, "Hey, like, what the hell?"
All right, but if the movie translates from the comic book to the movies exactly, then it's still a fan.
All right, so on that point, what do you think? Will people still be able to call themselves fans when the new Star Wars comes out? Because there's a lot of people saying that since. Can you?
You can never not call someone a fan because we're all different generations. That generation read the comic books.
Yeah, because they were there when like some people were there when those comics came out, you know, and we're so far behind on those stories that how would we jump in? I mean, we do have technology. I feel like a
So
fan.
basically, you're saying that a fan is to like, let's say me. I'm sorry, I'm using Sprite as a reference, but I read all the books and stuff. So would that make me a fan? That would make me a fan because I read the books.
Yeah.
And like I looked into all that.
I feel like a fan is a person who cares more about.
The original stuff.
This is difficult, really.
More about the original stuff.
No, not that. I feel like a fan is somebody who cares about the story more than, you know, normal people. You know? Like, a real fan would actually look for where it came from. You know, because they care.
Where it came about.
Exactly.
Oh, I did all of that.
Exactly.
Actually, I know a lot of people who like they don't read the comics, but they look up all the stuff on like Wikipedia, different websites and whatever. Like some guy who's a big fan of Wolverine, he'll know the origin, he'll know everything about Wolverine, about what happened in this part, that part, because they looked it up online or they saw the movies and they saw the TV shows, all that, but they still haven't read the comic book. Can you say like if you have that person versus someone who just read the comics, who's a bigger fan?
The person read the comic.
But they only read the comics. They haven't watched the movies or the TV shows.
I
Like
think
how?
they're
Oh, you
both
don't have
equal
a
because it's not.
favorite?
Yeah, I do.
I think they're both equal because it's not about the media that they use to get their fix of their character and whatnot. I think it has to do with like how much they really care about the story. Like you can't be a fan and be all like, with the Shakespeare reference. Oh, I'm a fan of Shakespeare, but I only know one thing. Like that makes you seem like full of it. No.
Joel, Nuaz, you guys have any opinions?
As long as you appreciate the characters and the work, I think that makes you a fan by itself. You don't have to look into the past. You don't have to see everything. You don't have to read everything to appreciate the comic or the movie or anything.
So as long as you appreciate what you're enjoying in front of you, you don't have to know all the history and all the
Yeah.
stuff that came before it. You can call yourself a fan.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with that. And like some reference with what Israel said, like when LeBron went to the Heat, everyone became a Heat fan. When Melo came to the Knicks, there were a bunch of people on the bandwagon. Oh, like I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a
I'm a
Knicks fan.
Melo fan.
No, but the thing is, some people did say like, oh, I followed Melo like to every team, so I became their team fan. But why be a part of the bandwagon? Like people be like, oh, who's a famous? Like, oh, I'm a Jay-Z fan when you only listen to one song. Like that makes you seem like, oh, you just doing this as part of the bandwagon. Like you don't even know like further into it. I mean, I do it sometimes too, but
Like with what?
like with what?
Give me an example.
Like Chief Keef, I really didn't like him before, but now he's a rapper. But now I do like his two mainstream songs. So like people probably think we all like part of the bandwagon because I didn't listen to him before.
Okay. So let's end this with a vote.
Teen Titans are overrated.
So
Nah, Teen Titans was wavy. You can't even.
Word, Teen
That was my shit.
Young
No.
Justice
Okay.
is better.
Teen Titans.
Young Justice is way better.
I'm gonna ask the question one more time. We're gonna actually just raise your hand and vote. Okay? Can you be a fan of a comic book superhero if you haven't read the comics? If you feel like you can still be a fan, raise your hand.
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. Who thinks you can't be a fan unless you've actually read the original source? Anyone disagree? If you haven't read the original source or seen the original source, can you still call yourself a fan? Okay, we got one opposed. So by a landslide, I guess you could say that people are okay with being a fan of something even if you haven't read the source material, right? This is Steveo Cubed signing off. Hope you enjoyed listening. Bye.